Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Charlotte, North Carolina. I do believe that we have a lot of you who are coming in today, and we're just so proud that you chose us to be a part of this celebration.
What we discussed. Alright, man, a flag?
Oh, nice.
Flag?
You want to go for it? How many you want?
Just one of each.
All right. Pen, Meck Dec, literature. Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We have temporary tattoos if you're interested.
Oh, no tattoos.
You need one of these too.
Oh,
I didn't say it was temporary.
Trace your heritage back to anybody who fought the war or contributed to the war in any way.
So you ever see one of your female friends, you always like, hey, look at me joking.
We're taking a photo.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could please have everyone stand who is able to stand, we will now present the colors. Color Guard Commander, present the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color Guard Commander, retire the colors.
Color Guard, shoulder colors, shoulder fireworks, Color Guard, right face, Color Guard, forward, march.
Be seated. Thank you to the Sons of the American Revolution for the presentation of the colors. And we want to say thank you also to the National President of the Sons of the American Revolution, Jerrel Addington, who is here, who came and made the trip to Charlotte for this special occasion. So thank you, sir, for being here. We also want to thank the U.S. Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps from Fort Myers, Virginia, who performed for us. Weren't they great? Thank you. There were 12 performers today. Aaron Morgan was the drum major, so we thank them so very much for being here. Welcome to a very special day. This is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. Yes! My name is Moira Quinn. I'm Chief Operating Officer of Charlotte Center City Partners. It's our pleasure to produce this event. I am also on the board of the May 20th Society. All board members, raise your hand. All board members who are here. Yeah, I see them in the back. You have many, many board members back there. Yes, indeed. Matthew Ridenhour is going to tell you more about May 20th Society shortly. I am wearing my DAR apron, if you were wondering, because I am a member of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. There they are, chapter of the DAR. My fellow daughters are here. Thank you for supporting this special day. So much has been happening and will continue to happen throughout the week, and it's going to be marking this special day in our history, and it really is special. We're going to tell you more about it coming up. So I want to thank all of our elected officials who are here, and they are on the stage with me. I want to recognize them. Mayor Vi Lyles is here. Councilmember Ed Driggs is here. He led us in the pledge and is going to help us with something else in just a moment. From CMS Board of Education, Liz Montgomery and Thelma Byers-Bailey are here. Thank you both so much. Chief Justice Paul Newby is here, so we're so glad to have him. And Senior Judge Frank Whitney is here as well. I did not. And Mark Jerrel from the County Commission, who's the chairman of the County Commission, is here. I didn't have him listed because he's going to be speaking to us in just a second. So I want to ask Councilmember Ed Driggs to come up. I was honored to go to City Council and receive a joint proclamation from the city and county that honored the signing of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. And I'm going to ask Ed Driggs to come up and read it to us, or at least maybe even read selected sections of it, to talk to us about what it says in this declaration. It is very special, and thank you very much, Councilmember Ed Driggs, to come up and share this with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Moira. I have to say, as a point of personal privilege, I had to get permission at home today to come here because my wife is British. And so, she said, "You're fine, go ahead and celebrate, I'm over it." Anyway, I would like to read to you, actually, if I may, in its entirety, a joint proclamation of the City of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. Whereas on May 19th, 1775, Charlottetown's founder, Colonel Thomas Polk, called for a convention of the Mecklenburg County militia leaders to be held in Charlotte, whereas those 26 men, upon hearing of the battles of Lexington and Concord, which had occurred exactly 1 month earlier, unanimously adopted resolutions to declare themselves a free and independent people in a document that came to be known as the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence, or Meck Dec. And whereas at noon on May 20th, 1775, Colonel Polk read the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence from the steps of the county courthouse to the assembled citizens. And whereas on May 31st, 1775, members of the Mecklenburg Committee of Safety adopted 20 additional resolutions to directly govern themselves, which came to be known as the Mecklenburg Resolves. And whereas a local tavern owner named Captain James Jack was called upon to deliver on horseback these documents to the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia, and whereas the state of North Carolina has chosen to recognize the significance of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence by placing the date of its signing, May 20th, 1775, upon our state flag and Great Seal, and whereas May 20th, 2025 is the 250th anniversary of the Meck Dec, now, therefore, Vi Lyles, Mayor of Charlotte, and Mark Jerrel, Chair of the Mecklenburg Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim this May as Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence Month in Charlotte-Mecklenburg County, and call upon all citizens to join us in commemorating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence.
Thank you so much, Ed. That was awesome. So I'm going to invite our elected officials to have a seat, except for the mayor and the chairman. I'm going to thank you so very much. We're going to hear from most of them. And Liz Monterey. How could I have said Montgomery? Liz Monterey. I know the difference. So I'm going to invite the mayor to come up and share some words. And then, Mark, if you'll just wait a moment, because you are next.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Charlotte, North Carolina. I do believe that we have a lot of you who are coming in today, and we're just so proud that you chose us to be a part of this celebration. As you heard in the joint proclamation, today is a special day for our community, a day to reflect, celebrate, look ahead. You know, I came here to go to Queens College, So I want you to, thank you so much. But, you know, I would like to say that I wasn't here in 1755. I know I might look like it. It was just a bad council meeting last night, but that's all right. So as you know, our city's story began in 1755 when the first settlers arrived. Just 13 years later, we were officially incorporated as Charlottetown, not the mall, the city. And we were named in honor of Queen Charlotte of Mecklenburg, and she, at that time, Mecklenburg, thank you, 1,200 people lived here. 10 years later, the town had grown to 83,000 residents, making it the largest city in the Carolinas. Fast forward to today, we are still leading the way. Charlotte is not only the largest city in the Carolinas with more than 935,000 residents, now ranks as the 14th largest city in the United States. Thank you all. Thank you. So what's behind all of this incredible growth? We all believe that it's pretty simple. Charlotte is a great place to live. Every day, more than 50 people choose the city as their home, and over 117 people move to the region. That is a proud testament that we have to this community that all of us have built together. As we celebrate our present and plan for our future, I hope that we never lose sight of our past. We owe so much to those who came before us, those who took the chance, took the risk, who worked tirelessly, who laid the foundation for this Charlotte that we know and love. And we can look around this space today and really see the outcomes of that. Some built these skyscrapers, but other things that they did, they opened small businesses, they made neighborhoods possible. They actually started thinking about how do we have generational families in our community. And we're very fortunate for that. Many fought, risking their lives to liberty and to save a city and a community rooted in resilience, hope, and I still believe opportunity. So to all of you who came before us, or all of you who are here with us today, thank you. We are deeply grateful, and I know our work continues. As a community, we must carry forward the lessons of the May 20th forward. Let us honor the past by building a future that's even brighter, more inclusive, and more united. Thank you for being a part of our journey, and thank you for helping us carry the fame.
Let's give it up one more time for our great mayor, Mayor Vi Lyles. Today, as chair of the Mecklenburg County Commission, my name is Mark Jerrel, and I represent the 9-member board of county commissioners here. And, you know, when I think about the significance of this day, I'd be remiss, as a proud veteran, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge and shout out all the veterans that are here today. Raise your hands so we can acknowledge you. Thank you. Thank you. As you all know, our county is vibrant and it's growing. In fact, the largest age group in Mecklenburg is between 30 and 34 years old, nearly 100,000 strong. That's just one example of the energy and momentum driving our community forward. And while much of our focus at the county is on shaping the future, we also take a lot of pride in our rich and our fascinating history. We actually, and I don't think many of us realize this, but we actually began as part of Bladen County in the 1740s. It was huge. And by 1750, we had split off and we became part of Anson County. And in 1762, we took a bold step, separating from Anson to become Mecklenburg County, named in honor of the Queen. And though we honored the monarchy in name, Mecklenburg and Charlotte, as you know, that honor was really short-lived. Just 13 years later, in 1775, we recognized that British rule, sorry to Caroline, Ed, had become oppressive. We were taxed without representation. British soldiers were killing our fellow colonists without cause. The people of that day yearned for freedom. They yearned for self-determination. And revolution became the only path forward. On May 20th, 1775, the leaders of Mecklenburg County and Charlottetown, they came together. They pledged their lives, their liberty, and their trust to one another and to their community. In these few short years, the people of Mecklenburg and Charlottetown, you won't believe this, but they earned a reputation. Unlike most communities, we weren't founded on a riverbank. We were established at the crossroads of two First Peoples trading paths. We were known as enterprising, savvy traders, and I would say we still are. We were also known as a hornet's nest of rebellion, and we proudly still are. We've commemorated that spirit of defiance May 20th, 1775 on the official seal of Mecklenburg County. It's flown over every county flag since the Revolutionary War. It's also emblazoned on our state flag and the Great Seal of North Carolina. So today, we are proud to mark this extraordinary 250th anniversary with all of you and with our distinguished guests. So thank you, everybody, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We appreciate both of you so very much. It is now time to bring up Matthew Ridenhour, a dedicated member of the Board of Directors of the May 20th Association, the May 20th Society. Come on up, Mr. Ridenhour. Love that hat.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Charlotte, and welcome to your annual celebration of the signing of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. My name is Matthew Ridenhour, and on behalf of the May 20th Society, I'd like to thank each of you for being here today and helping us honor and remember this important day in American history. Not just Charlotte history, American history. Now, today in my remarks, I'm going to say huzzah a few times. When I say that, I'm going to need you to reply back. Huzzah. Huzzah? Huzzah! All right. We're also very honored today to have with us descendants of the signers of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. If you are a descendant of one of these distinguished signers, please raise your hand so we can recognize you. Huzzah! Thank you so much to Michael Smith, Moira, Quinn, Robert Crumbine, and the entire Center City Partners staff who put in countless hours in preparation for today. We could not enjoy this celebration without all of you, so thank you very much. Huzzah! Huzzah! And a special thank you to the John William Pope Foundation, John Locke Foundation, Chief Justice Paul Newby, Federal Judge Frank Whitney, the Mecklenburg Historical Association, and our local Daughter of the American Revolution and Sons of the American Revolution chapters, without whose financial support, volunteer hours, and consultations, we would not be able to have such a wonderful celebration today. Huzzah! Huzzah! Free and independent. Those are the words penned by the authors of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. We use words like freedom and independence and liberty often. But what really do they mean to us? What really does it mean to be free and independent? Do we think about what they mean to us as a society and what they mean to us as individuals? The weight that those words carry, the responsibilities that they convey. In 1967, then Governor Ronald Reagan stated in his inaugural address, "Freedom is a fragile thing and is never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation. For it comes only once to a people, and those in world history know that those who have known freedom and lost it have never known it again." May 20th, 1775 was not a singular event in world history. It was rather one generation's fight to be free and independent, the eternal struggle of humankind against tyranny and subjugation, the eternal struggle. From the Israelites being led out of Egypt to the Spartans at Thermopylae, from the Battle of Tours to the Battle of Vienna, from the Underground Railroad to the Velvet Revolution. Every generation must choose its path towards freedom and independence or towards oppression and chains. And so now that burdensome choice falls upon our shoulders. Will we carry the banner of freedom forward, or will we decide that her weight is too heavy? Her responsibilities are too great. What does free and independent mean to you? It is your birthright as an American, signed for in ink yet paid for in blood. But you and I have to actively work to maintain it, to continually stoke the brush fires of freedom. I would encourage you, friends, that when dark clouds are on the horizon and the world seems to overwhelm you, when tyranny and authoritarianism seem to be knocking at the door, lift high the banner of May 20th. Lift high your banner of freedom. When all others fall away around you, you press forward. You press on towards liberty. You press on towards independence. Not just on May 20th, but every day with renewed spirit. Huzzah! Huzzah! And once more, on behalf of the May 20th Society, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. You've really made this a very special occasion. Happy Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence Day to you all. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Judge Frank Whitney.
Huzzah! Huzzah! What a great day! I am Frank Whitney. I am humbled by what Moira just said. I'm up here because I understand from a personal basis what the signers of the Meck Dec went through. Because I am lucky to be a descendant of John Ford, one of the original signers. John Ford spelled 3 different ways depending upon which version of the Meck Dec you're looking at. So let me tell you about how we are here today, what brought us to Trade and Tryon. In the mid-18th century, a new breed of colonists were immigrating from the frontiers of North Carolina. And yes, Charlotte was the frontier back then. Many of them had traveled from the old world, specifically Great Britain. They had fled Scotland so they could worship in their Presbyterian manner without the restrictions of the Church of England. But in Ireland, they still did not have the religious freedom they sought, so they looked west across the Atlantic Ocean to the 13 colonies. They had heard of the religious independence achieved by the Puritans, the Quakers, and the Catholics. And for decades, they slowly migrated across the sea and ended up primarily in Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. But many of them also ended up in Somerset County in Maryland. Somerset County is Maryland's most southern county on the western coast of Delmarva, which is where John Ford's family went before they came south. Here, John Ford met the Polk family, Thomas Polk, and has either moved with the Polk family south or recommended John Ford, the Polk family, recommended him to go south, which he did. He and the 2 brothers came across the sea, and according to family tradition, once they arrived, they had families. And apparently, we believe that in 1727, John Ford was, his parents left the British Isles to avoid English military service. And we don't know whether Ford himself served, but we do know that was part of his goal in life. When Ford first set out from Maryland to come south to western North Carolina, the Fords migrated through Virginia and eventually moved further south until they reached the North Carolina, central Piedmont, North Carolina. Though John moved to Rowan County temporarily, he left there to move back west, and that was partly on the encouragement of the Governor William Tryon. Yes, that's the Tryon on the street you're now standing. Although John Ford was a vigorous Presbyterian, and that's one reason we have so many Presbyterian churches in Charlotte, he also was appointed by Governor William Tryon to be a vestryman for St. Luke's Parish of the Church of England in Salisbury. That seemed to be inconsistent with his faith that he was taking a job from the royal governor. Nonetheless, he knew the reality of the situation. If you wanted to have just certain basic privileges, for example, a marriage license, you were supposed to be a member of the Anglican Church. He defied that as others. It was the beginning of their emotional concern, their vigor for their religious freedom. They knew that if they were, even as they came west, they were facing Anglican oppression. They overcame that through becoming a part of the community. John Ford was a very smart businessman. We would call him upper middle class or higher than that. He purchased property quite frequently and sold property. In fact, he purchased 7 lots right here on Tryon Street. He also purchased 395 acres from Lord Augustus Selwyn, which means some of you might be at Augustus Selwyn's bar tonight having a good time. And he purchased other pieces of land adjoining this region, including land at McAlpine Creek. He became a surveyor by profession. He used his surveying talents with his business acumen to develop properties throughout the region. He purchased 85 acres in one deed and 10 in another. He was found in the records of the Clear Creek militia to be a sergeant. And something near and dear to me, his primary profession was he was a justice of the peace, a lawyer and a judge. As justice of the peace, he was involved in legal matters that took him and lawyers up and down the road from Charlotte to Wadesboro. That road was where the two courthouses, our courthouse and the Wadesboro courthouse, sat. And he laid out the path of what now is called Lawyers Road. So, John Ford joined the other great men who went into that courthouse and defied the crown. When they defied the crown, they knew they were committing treason. And the punishment for treason was death. John Ford was a man of some means. He did not have to sign that document. He could have peacefully lived an affluent man. But he put his life and his family's life on the line for liberty. And today, that is why we celebrate here trade and triumph, because this legacy of Scotch-Irish traveling from Scotland to Ireland to Pennsylvania and Somerset County, Maryland, and coming here. Now, one of the best pieces of evidence that there really is a Meck Dec, because we have a lot of naysayers out there, is that we as a community for the last 250 years have celebrated Meck Dec. And it has been a great celebration. 4 presidents in the United States have come here and either spoken in this corner or Freedom Park. Taft, Wilson, Eisenhower, and Jerrel Ford. They came here because they understood the spirit of liberty. Billy Graham has spoken at least twice at events like this. When Eisenhower appeared, 40,000 people attended at the Freedom Park amphitheater. When Ford came, schools were let out, and the Charlotte Observer estimated 100,000 people were at the Freedom Park amphitheater at one time. 100,000 at one time. That is the most powerful expression of the love of freedom. It is by the actions of you coming here today and other citizens of Charlotte-Mecklenburg through the years to celebrate the Meck Dec. Thank you. I have the honor to introduce a very close friend of mine and someone who is a wonderful native North Carolinian from Greensboro originally. The Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court is the highest judicial official in the state. Although I like to needle him a little bit, that federal judges sometimes can trump that. But he's a scholar of the law. He is the leading scholar with Professor John Orth in Chapel Hill, UNC Law School, on the North Carolina Constitution. He is the man to go to if you have questions about that document. I introduce Paul Newby, Mr. Chief Justice.
Well, good afternoon. What a treat it is for my wife, Macon, and for me to be here in the great state of Mecklenburg. Top yellow ribbon on the state flag. How many North Carolinians have no idea what that is? Our state constitution since 1776 has reminded us a frequent recurrence to fundamental principles is absolutely necessary to preserve the blessings of liberty. Folks, we need to recur to those fundamental principles. In preparation for this 250th celebration, Scott Cipher and I conspired to put together a statewide high school moot court problem to let high school students from across the state debate the authenticity of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. Yesterday, thanks to Senior Judge Frank Whitney and the fine folks of the federal courthouse, we held those finals at the federal courthouse, the Bob Potter courtroom, with the final two teams who had advanced through the regionals and the semifinals. And folks, I gotta tell you, the kids were amazing. They had learned so much North Carolina history, and guess what? Their parents had too.
Good.
There were so many folks who came up to Macon and me and said, we had no idea that there was a Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. We hadn't even noticed the yellow ribbon dates on the state flag. So folks, we all need to be ambassadors for the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. Why? Why do we need to do that? One of my favorite TV shows started, return with me now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. Let's do that. Look at this painting, which I love, and ask yourself, they're declaring themselves a free and independent people. At what cost? At what price? When they did that, that's treason, punishable by death and confiscation of property. Why would they do that? They did it because this, okay? Generally, throughout the history of the world, you had a king and they told you what your rights were. You could disagree and that caused you to die. But over time, thanks to the Magna Carta and other British documents that are there, we can thank your wife for that, that power was somewhat limited. But here was the social contract that everybody agreed to. The king provides protection, and we, the people, provide loyalty. What happens if the king breaks that contract? Time and again, the king and his royal governors had cheated the people of Mecklenburg County of their rights. Time and again. So they got together to talk about the dire circumstances on the evening of May the 19th. And they gathered here at this courthouse. And as they were gathered there, a rider showed up from the north. And he had this amazing news. He said, folks, y'all aren't going to believe this, but King George, our protector, has now become King George, our persecutor. He has killed his subjects. He's not only not protecting them, he is killing them. How will the folks in Mecklenburg respond to that? What should be the proper response when the king has broken the contract? We too no longer owe loyalty to that. They stated famously these words: "We do hereby declare ourselves a free and independent people, that we are and of right ought to be a sovereign and self-governing people under the power of God, and also that of the General Assembly of the people. To the maintenance of which independence we solemnly pledge to each other our mutual cooperation, our lives, our fortunes, and our most sacred honor." As we know, the history of the revolution, so many of these folks went through so much, losing indeed so much of their property during that period of time. When John Adams heard these words that I've just read to you from the Mecklenburg Declaration, he said this: "The genuine sense of America at that moment was never so well expressed before or since." It was captured, as we see here, by the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. Today, what do we celebrate when we celebrate the Meck Dec? We celebrate self-government under the power of God. In fact, we said it as we said our Pledge of Allegiance at the very beginning: one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. Under God's grace may it be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone, my name is Kendrick. I am the Executive Director of the Charlotte Trail of History and the Charlotte Liberty Walk. You're all actually sitting on the Charlotte Liberty Walk, so you're welcome. We have these two projects that are dedicated to preserving and sharing the stories that shaped our city and our country. So it is quite an honor to be here amongst you all. I'm not sure if we've had a crowd like this since 1976, so thank you so very much for being here. We are quite honored. 2 years ago, I spent a day in one of my favorite places, the UNC Charlotte Special Collections Department at the Adkins Library, and that's when I came across the story of a man named A. Grant Whitney, who quickly became an inspiration. Though he's no longer here with us, he's become an unexpected mentor to me. Mr. Whitney served as chair of the Charlotte Mecklenburg Bicentennial Committee for the 1975 to 1976 celebrations, one of which took place right here, right where we sit. And it has for 250 years. So today I have the honor of serving as chair of the America 250 Mecklenburg County Commission, planning our local contributions to this once-in-a-generation milestone, the 250th anniversary of the United States. And when I met my now friend Judge Frank Whitney, I told him that his father was the reason that I took on this role. As someone born in 1976, a bicentennial baby, I hope to carry his father's legacy into the semi-quincentennial. My ancestors were the Alexanders, early settlers of this village, and several among them signers of this bold and early step toward liberty. Their actions came more than a year before the Declaration of Independence. They risked everything to stand up to tyranny, and as their granddaughter, I'm here to honor their courage and sacrifice. When people question the legitimacy of the Mecklenburg Declaration, I remind them who these people were. These Scots-Irish Presbyterians weren't afraid to fight for what they'd built. They were the grandchildren of those who'd fled Scotland for a promised better life in Ulster, Ireland. When the king offered more of the same, they took an even greater risk, sailing across the ocean for a different life in Maryland and Pennsylvania. And once again, a distant and unyielding government forced them to seek a long-term solution. They fled to the backcountry wilderness. They built a town and named it for a queen, hoping to maintain peace with the king. So now let's step back in time, 250 years to that fateful spring day in 1775. Imagine Charlottetown as it was then, a frontier village, restless with tension and uncertainty. Ordinary people going about their daily lives in the town square, unaware that word of bloodshed between British soldiers and colonial farmers in Massachusetts is about to arrive. And with it, everything changes. Let's return now to that moment to the courthouse.
To America and to the inherent and inalienable rights of man. Resolve that we, the citizens of Mecklenburg County, do hereby dissolve the political bands which have connected us to the mother country, and hereby absolve ourselves from all allegiance to the British crown, and abjure all political connections, contracts, or associations with that nation who have wantonly trampled on our rights and liberties, and inhumanely shed the innocent blood of American patriots at Lexington. That we do hereby declare ourselves a free and independent people, armed and upright husbands, a sovereign and self-governing association, under the control of no power other than that of our God and the general government of the Congress, to the maintenance of which independence we solemnly pledge to each other our mutual cooperation, our lives, and our most sacred honor. Resolve that as we now acknowledge the existence and control of no law or legal office, civil or military, within this county, we do hereby ordain and adopt as a rule of life all, each and every of our former laws, where nevertheless the crown of Britain never can be considered as holding rights, privileges, immunities, or authority therein. And resolve that it is also further decreed that all, each and every military officer in this county is hereby reinstated to his former command and authority. He acting conformably to these regulations, and that every member present on this delegation shall henceforth be a civil officer, a justice of the peace, in the character of a committee man, to issue, process, hear, and determine all matters of conduct according to said adopted laws, and to preserve peace and union and harmony in said councils, and to use every exertion to spread the love of country and fire of freedom throughout America until a more general and organized government be established in this province. 3 cheers for liberty and freedom. Hip hip hurrah! Hip hip hurrah! Hip hip hurrah!
So it was on May 20th, 1775, that the citizens of Mecklenburg County boldly declared independence more than a year before the Continental Congress. Some may debate the details, but none question the courage. They lit a spark, and the fire of liberty spread. 11 days later, on May 31st, the spirit of that declaration was refined into action. The people of Mecklenburg knew that words alone were not enough. They needed structure, they needed order, and they needed to prepare for what lay ahead. And so, the Mecklenburg Resolves were adopted. 20 bold statements that severed ties with the British Crown and laid the foundation for self-governance. Today we share just 5 of them, words that echo through time with the same clarity and conviction. Let us hear them now. This day, the committee of this county met and passed the following resolves. Whereas, by an address presented to His Majesty by both Houses of Parliament in February last, the American colonies are declared to be in a state of actual rebellion. We conceive that all laws and commissions confirmed by or derived from the authority of the King or Parliament are annulled and vacated, and the former civil constitution of these colonies for the present wholly suspended. To provide in some degree for the exigencies of this county in the present alarming period, we deem it proper and necessary to pass the following resolves.
That all commissions, civil and military, heretofore granted by the Crown to be exercised in these colonies are null and void, and the constitution of each particular colony wholly suspended.
That the Provincial Congress of each province, under the direction of the Great Continental Congress, is invested with all legislative and executive powers within their respective provinces, and that no other legislative or executive power does or can exist at this time in any of these colonies.
As all former laws are now suspended in this province, and the Congress have not yet provided others, we judge it necessary for the better preservation of good order to form certain rules and regulations for the internal government of the country, until laws shall be provided for us by the
That these resolves be in full force and virtue until instructions from the Provincial Congress regulating the jurisprudence of the province shall provide otherwise, or the legislative body of Great Britain resigns its unjust and arbitrary pretensions with respect to America. Huzzah! Huzzah!
And finally, the 20th resolve, that the committee appoint Colonel Thomas Polk and Dr. Joseph Kennedy to purchase 300 pounds of powder, 600 pounds of lead, 1,000 flints for the use of the militia of this county, and deposit the same in such place as the committee may hereafter direct. Please turn your attention towards the courthouse.
Go with God and tell them we are no longer subjects of the British realm. We are free.
can hear that all the
Thank you all so very much. Thank you very much. So we bring everything. We bring muskets. We bring cannon fire. We bring the resolves. We bring Captain Jack on a horse. We bring history. I tell you, the Meck Dec 250 is full of adventure, and we bring you. Thank you so very much for being with us as we remember and celebrate our revolutionary history. Our commemoration is not quite over. Our reenactors, our DAR, our SAR, and our musicians will now lead the way to Settlers Cemetery. It's the resting place of so many of our founders, those who founded our city, founded Charlottetown. They are the ones who settled our community. They took that risk. They signed the Declaration of the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence. These are the names we see on buildings, on churches, on plazas, and street signs. We invite you to come along and lay history in their honor and their memory. Thank you again for joining us today, and we will do this again next year. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going with us to Old Settlers Cemetery, we're assembling just across the street here on the corner behind the courthouse. We're going to leave in 2 minutes. So, if you're going to Old Settlers Cemetery, you got 2 minutes. Just follow the flags.
Done access to when you want.
None, we've never had a
Do you know any of the people that put this together? Yes. They will know both. If you're familiar with the Mecklenburg Historical Association, do you know Sarah Sue? Okay. They 100.